sometimes you can't actually attack the problem at hand head on because you simply don't have the mental strength and you don't have the tools and the knowledge necessary to do so. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Dice Brand here, and I want to welcome you to this video on what to do when you don't know what to do. Today we're in the beautiful botanical garden shooting the first video of 2022. I'm super freaking pumped to do this video. I've had this idea, or these ideas I should say, bouncing around in my head for like maybe a year and a half, maybe even longer, maybe 2 years. And it's taken me this long to really consolidate the ideas and put them in the video. And I've done a test run of this video, and surprisingly it's not that long of a video. So let's get cracking into it, I guess. So who's this video for? This video is meant for men that are like light level depressed, anxious, a little bit lost in life, having a bit of an existential crisis, not really knowing what to do. The types of dudes that are maybe a little bit like me, where generally speaking, you're actually a really good problem solver. You're able to see like a way out of most situations. You've got like a plan A, plan B, plan D, but you go as far as going like plan G. You've had so many different types of plans, and because you've got so many different ways of attacking the problem, generally speaking, you get the problem solved. But for whatever reason, you're having a bit of an existential crisis, you're having a little bit of a realization, questioning the very foundations of how your problem solving ability is, maybe having a little bit of like, I guess, like some of your self-esteem and confidence is going down, and you're sort of like questioning, is this all worth it, and where am I going wrong? Okay, so this sort of video hopefully will give you a little bit of guidance, okay, with how to actually crawl out of the pit. We'll get into that. Crawl out of the mud so that you can actually go after the things that are important to you. So this video is based on some ideas from Tyler, okay, from like an old company called Real Social Dynamics. You may have heard of them.
Hey, what's up? It's Owen from Real Social Dynamics. I'm at Makapu Beach right now on the east shore of Oahu. And what I wanted to talk to you about today was how the movie Batman Begins is a great metaphor for hard case newbies.
The company's still there, it's still split. We're not going to go down there. Maybe I'll do that in another video. But that company and Tyler essentially saved my life, okay? And that's why I'm super pumped to be able to deliver you this content and to be able to share with you these ideas, because I wish I'd known them 15 years ago. So in the video, he describes a little bit about like how The Dark Knight Rises, the movie with Batman, can be a very symbolic and give you a bit of an idea as like a bit of a hero's journey on what it means to be able to rise up out of the pit of depression and to be able to learn the skill sets to do what you need to do in order to get out of the pit, and like what to do when you don't know what to do. So my spin is like what to do when you don't know what to do, but his video is mainly based on like crawling out of the pit of depression. Now, this video I don't think is up anymore, but I think you'll get the gist of what you need to know in this video. In the movie The Dark Knight Rises, I need to sort of do a little bit of a back history and maybe like refresh your memory. If you haven't seen the film, go watch the film. But if you have seen the film and you just can't remember, I'm just going to give you a bit of like an interpretation, because it is a very long movie, but these are the key points that I want to take out of the movie and put it into the context in this video so that you get something out of it. So in the very beginning of the movie, Batman, what's his name? Bruce Wayne is broken, okay? He's spiritually and physically broken. He's walking around with a stick. He's socially isolated himself. I think he's been like exiled from Gotham, and like people don't want him, and he's like lost his love, hasn't been doing the Batman thing, and he's kind of like, you know, having like little bitter arguments with his butler. I can't remember his butler's name, but you know, the old dude, he's a good actor. But yeah, he's broken, okay? And maybe you can relate to this as well. As like you in the past, you've done really well, but for whatever reason, now you've put yourself in social isolation, especially with this crazy stuff that's going on at the moment, and you don't know what to do. So when you don't know what to do, when the mind has too many options, it does nothing. So he's sort of like in that stage where he's really depressed, and he hasn't got the piss bottles out, but he's getting there, okay? And then as the movie goes on, he builds up a little bit of courage. His butler, whatever his name, I'm just going to call him the butler because that's all I remember. He gives him some inspiring words, and he learns a few things, and he puts the bat suit on, And he thinks on some level that he is actually ready to get back into the bat suit. And he does his little Batman thing, runs around for a little bit, and then what happens? Bang, he gets hit by Bane, okay? Bane has been like, sharpening the sword of terror, the tyrant, while he's been in hiding, and Bane is sharp, Bane is strong, and he has taken over, like, he's got a plan to basically take over Gotham. So what happens? He has that little fight scene in the underground, and Bane basically crushes him, okay? Breaks his back, but most of all, he breaks his spirit, okay? And then all of a sudden, Bruce Wayne, Batman, our hero, he finds himself in the worst jail, okay? And even Bane talks about this in the movie. And this is probably this is where I got really emotional. I'm sure if you've seen this film, you got real emotional because you relate to like having everything that you've built for, and that little bit of courage that you've had, that you've built up, stripped away from you, and you're actually now at a lower level than you were before, okay? You're now even more broken spiritually and mentally. So what does Batman do? Okay, he's in this pit, okay, this jail, in around a whole lot of other people that have given up, okay, that have basically accepted their fate, and they've accepted their fate, but they look up and there's this light, okay, and the light at the top of the pit is like symbolic for like freedom, for going back or growing or getting the problem solved. So, but when he first starts out, he doesn't even have the strength to literally get out of bed because his back's broken. Okay, so like there's I guess the symbol. There's this part in the movie where he gets like a rope wrapped around his upper section, and a guy helps him up, and he just literally like is hung there in a room, and he's like, "You stay here until you can walk." Okay, so he's not in a position where he can even climb out of the pit yet because he can't even walk. Okay, he hasn't got that strength yet. So, over time, he's like, he sort of like starts to build his strength up. He starts to do push-ups. He starts to do pull-ups. He starts to do sit-ups. He starts to get to a point where he's starting to like just to do little small tasks to get his confidence and self-esteem, and like just to be able to get to the ability of being able to go and try and save Gotham. Okay, so he's in there, he's in the room, he's surrounded by a whole lot of losers, okay, except maybe the blind man, which we'll get to, and he's like trying to work out, like in his pain, how he can use that as fuel to be able to get out of the pit. Okay, because he doesn't know what to do. At that point, he's like torn between at the start of it, he's like torn between these two ideas of like what to do. But then later, okay, he accepts the fact that it's going to take him some time to crawl out of the pit to go and save Gotham. So what does he need to do? So I guess the point here I'm trying to get at is sometimes you can't just go straight after the problem. You can't just attack head on what it is that you need to do. You kind of need to like flank the issue. You kind of need to beat around the bush per se. You need to try and find small little tasks that would assist you in building your brain power up, and building your confidence up, building your self-esteem up, and maybe even take off little small chunks of the problem that will inevitably get you to the point where the problem is solved. So that's what Batman's doing in the film. And then when he gets to a stage that he has enough courage, he attempts the first climb. So he wraps that rope around his torso, and he begins to climb. All right, the first time he's a little bit iffy, and he goes for the leap, and what happens? He falls. That rope saves him. It saves him from probably going splat at the bottom of the pit. And then he goes back, he does a bit more training, okay? And even in his shit situation, there's that blind guy that that tries to like give him some words of wisdom, because the blind guy knows that he'll never make it out of the pit. But at least the blind guy, at least in his mind, hasn't fully given up on the idea of hope. And because there's another guy in there that says something along the lines of like, die here, die there, what's the difference? Okay, so he's already given up. The blind guy hasn't really the blind guy's given up knowing that he can't get out, but his mind hasn't fully given up, and he knows that there can be some liberty and sense to be found, and like hope to be found by helping somebody else come up. Kind of like I'm giving you some hope that you can actually make it out of the pit that you're in. I like to think of myself a little bit more like, you know, like Morpheus in the Matrix. Anyway, that's another story. So he comes back down and he continues to build him strength, and now he's got to the level of anger. Okay, he's pissed off. He's like, the blind guy talks to him a little bit about fear, and he's like, and Batman goes, I'm not fearful.
Fear is why you fail.
No, I'm not afraid. I'm angry.
I don't have any fear. And then, so he's sort of starting to learn that maybe, wait a minute, maybe there is some fear. The blind man talks to Batman and he says, you need to attempt to climb. And Batman sort of like smiles, he's like, I've attempted it twice now. And he's like, no, you need to attempt it as the child did. You need to attempt it this time with no rope.
Then make the climb. As the child did. Without the rope. Then fear will find you again.
And there's two levels of fear that's going on here. One, he's activating the fear, okay? He's activating that fear of like, I need to, I like, give me that extra adrenaline, because if I don't jump as hard as I can jump without the rope, I will die. So he's using the fear to get him up there. And also like, you know, on one level, he's also like getting rid of the fear. Because he's got that rope that's strapped around his torso, it's actually weighting him down. It's literally weighting him down, so he's unable to jump that far. So by actually losing his fear of death, okay, and going all in, he's actually able to climb out of the pit. And you see it, and like there's this glorious moment, and then all these guys are chanting, they're like, rah, 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 you know, like all these bearded dudes rambling some bullshit. And he makes it out of the pit. And it's just like, for me, and probably for you if you've seen the film, it's just such a glorious moment. Okay, it's just like, yes, he made it out of the pit. And because Batman is like, he knows that this is just the beginning. He's not like, you know, like charging or that. He knows that this is just the beginning. But like one of the smallest parts of the film that I think, like, Chris Nolan's a genius. But like one of the smallest parts of the film that I really resonate with, and that's one of the reasons why I love doing these videos so much, is just for 2 seconds, Batman pushes a rope down the pit. He pushes that rope down the pit. He doesn't actually go as far as helping the other people out, because he's got a bigger mission. And he knows that the people that are in the pit, they've already given up. On a lot of levels, they've already given up. And there are other people there are more people that are in Gotham that are worth saving, that need saving, and that he's now connected with his purpose. He's now connected with his mission. But because he has such a caring nature, he pushes that rope down into the pit to help the other people. And I'm just like, yes, that's what you do. You help the other people out. So so now he's like, you know, off to go and to train, go and find contacts, go and find the right people, yada yada yada, and continue on with the film. But the main things that I want to talk about is when he was actually in that pit. Sometimes you can't actually attack the problem at hand head on, because you simply don't have the mental strength and you don't have the tools and the knowledge necessary to do so. But that shouldn't be something that stops you from trying to attack and finish off the problem. You need to try and look at how can I address this by coming in from the side? How can I learn the skills? How can I strengthen, just do some push-ups? How can I do the little things to be able to go after it eventually, so that I can at least make the first attempt? And you go in with the first attempt knowing that that is not going to be the one that succeeds. So it's about understanding that the first attempt is going to fail. Maybe the second attempt, maybe the 10th time. It's going to be a continuous failure. It's about not knowing that you're not going to get bitter about your attempts, and that you're going to learn every time that you fail. Okay, so you go into it, you make a little attempt, and you're like, oh shit, it didn't work. And then you learn those lessons. Okay, what needs to be changed? Oh, maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to get a little bit of guidance here. And then you go and do it again. And then you go and do it again. And you just keep getting up, and you just keep getting up. And you stay relentless to the point that you actually do claw out of that pit. You do work out what you need to do when you don't know what to do. So yeah, if you got something out of this video, please hit the subscribe button, please hit the like button, maybe share it with a friend that's going through a bit of a rough time at the moment. I've got a ton more videos coming out this year. What else can I say? I want you to come along with me for this journey as I get better at delivering my content, delivering my ideas, and I start to crawl up out of my pit so that I can be an excellent mentor for you. And I'm working really, really hard to make this a reality. And I've had my attempts in the past that you've seen, like trying to work out what I need to say, how I need to say it, how do I project into the camera better, how do I communicate better, how do I have more empathy skills, so that I can do this, so that people want to hand over their hard-earned cash to me, so that I can really help you. And I want you to come along for the journey. And yeah, if you've made it this far in the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, follow me on Instagram, because we got tons of self-development content coming out. And yeah, let's go for a ride. 2022, baby. Woo!